Welcome to B.A. Showoff, the Dance Lifestyle Podcast. I'm Becky.
And I'm Alexandra. And whether you're a dance coach, dance parent, or a dancer yourself, this is the show for you. Today, we're going to be introducing former Cudettes captain, Jayla Valdes.
Hi, Jayla. How are you?
Good. How are you? I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, we love that you're here with us today. So can you tell our audience a little bit about you and how you ended up in this dance team world?
Yeah, so when I was really little, I was always just like dancing everywhere, like in my kitchen, in malls, in living room. There's like a bunch of videos of me just like improvising and freestyling. So I would beg my mom to put me in dance because I started off in soccer. So she finally ended up putting me in dance. I started dancing when I was 6. And then I just did 1 year of just taking dance classes. And then the next year I started dancing like in the competition world, and I've been doing that with studio ever since. So I think I ended off with 12 years of dancing in studio. And then as a freshman, I grew up like with Cudettes, and I always looked up to them, and I was inspired by them. So I knew it was something that I was interested in and something that I wanted to do. And then I tried out my freshman year, and it was one of the best choices I've ever made.
Do you think that when you were young and you were like, I want to be on dance team, were there specific things that you did that helped you get onto the dance team? Like, were you focused on certain styles or taking privates or technique work, whatever?
Yeah, well, I think growing up in studio obviously helped me so much, like not only with skills, but just like my character. Like it built my character, and being surrounded by dancers that grew up to do dance team and did dance in high school and stuff, it helped me and it inspired me. But yeah, taking privates and just being consistent, I was dancing like hours and hours. It was like my middle school, those 3 years I was dancing probably like 7 hours a day because I was in so many routines, and that was like when I was most active. So I think that's like when I solidified my love for dance. And then trying out my freshman year, I didn't know if I was going to love the dance team world because I had never done dance team before that, but obviously I like fell in love with it, and yeah, I'm glad that I did it.
Okay, so when you started dance team, what do you think was the main thing that drew you to be part of it?
I think just like the atmosphere that it creates, there's honestly nothing like it. Obviously studio is similar in some ways, but I think when it comes to dance team, like because it's not really about a solo and it's not about you individually, and you really do learn to like work with other people and work as a team, it's so beautiful to see like an outcome come out of a bunch of like minds being put together. And I think with Cudettes especially, like just the work ethic and knowing that I was inspired by it my whole life, like it really pushed me to just work so much harder in the atmosphere that I was in. And it's really beautiful. Like even UDA, like I always tell people, it's something that you have to experience it in order to know what I'm talking about, but it's really beautiful to see. And I think although studio is similar, I'm glad that I did both because they have so many differences as well.
Yeah, and I think that being on a JV team and starting off there, and being part of that process, and then growing into your varsity years and being part of that process, it's just the whole entire aspect of it is just growing.
Yeah,
like you start off and you like it and I want to do this, but you become a better friend, a better teammate, a better leader, a better human, just because of the growth process that happens from when you're a freshman to senior year. And you being captain both on your JV team and your varsity team, I think helped you in that aspect. So can you talk a little bit about your leadership role and how you think that's helped you to where you are right now?
Yeah, so my freshman year on Cudettes, I kind of knew that my whole life I've always just like been the type to take initiative, and being a leader is something I've always just been drawn to. My freshman year of Cudettes, because it was so new and most of the girls on that specific team had been doing dance team their middle school years too, so I felt like this isn't really my world and I'm new to it, so I wasn't very sure. Towards the end of that year, I became so obsessed with Cudettes, and like I knew that I had good things to say, so I wanted to try out for captain. And then when I got it, I felt like it was such a learning process for me, especially my sophomore year. That year in specific was a little bit difficult with everything that we had to do. And I just knew like this is something I'm good at. It's something that I want to do. It makes me more passionate about dance, and I was so passionate about the team and everything that it represented. So I felt like it honestly only pushed me to want to do captain again my varsity year. And I honestly loved it even more my varsity year. And I felt like it just made me grow so much as a person and as a dancer as well.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about being captain, because I mean, some people don't understand what that's like, the extra pressure you have. I mean, it's a lot of pressure being on a team and, you know, going to competition and, you know, wanting to, like, you know, do the best you can and winning. But then being the leader, being captain, it just adds that much more pressure. So tell us a little bit about your experience.
I would say the 2 years that I was captain were very, very different. My JV year, I felt like I got no sleep, honestly. Like, it was really, really stressful. I think especially most of the team that year were freshmen, so it was a little bit hard to kind of lead a team where there was so many new faces and they're learning so much as freshmen, and it was hard to kind of balance like the team that they had just come from, where it wasn't like as difficult to being a Cudette. Especially that it was only my second year going to UDA, so I had to learn really, really quickly like about certain things. It was stressful, but I think that year was really monumental for me, and even going to nationals and having that entire experience just taught me so much. And when I became captain my varsity year, I felt like I just felt a lot more comfortable with what I was doing, and I felt very confident in what I had to say, and I knew that that I was saying the right things, and that I knew that I was going to take steps forward that were going to better the team. And obviously with you, like, by my side, I felt a lot more confident and secure my senior year. It definitely is stressful, but it's just beautiful to see, like, you put so much work into something and then it turns out to be what it is, and it's so, like, refreshing to see, and it honestly just motivates you.
So being captain, obviously that comes with a lot of challenges. What are some things that you felt helped you overcoming a lot of these obstacles? Because I think that a lot of people stepping into a role as a captain, there's a lot of things that do fall on them. Like she was saying, the pressure. What are some things that you think helped you overcome those things? And what are some pieces of advice that you can maybe offer to somebody who's stepping into this role now?
I think a big part of it is my officers and the people that I surrounded myself with. Like, when I ever felt overwhelmed or stressed, I knew that I didn't have to do it alone, and I was lucky enough to have people that helped me throughout it. I never felt like I had the whole team on my shoulders because I had those girls with me to help me, and just knowing that it's not all about me and it's about the team. So anytime that I would get stressed out, I would think about them and I would put them first, and I'd say there's a bigger goal to this and it's going to be okay. I think being captain, a number one thing is to not show your team that you're stressed, which is a little bit difficult because obviously you're going through so much and there's so much being thrown at you. But I think when you're stressed, they get stressed easily. So I think just learning how to, like, keep my cool, and even when I was so stressed on the inside, just, like, showing them that it was going to be okay really helped, just, like, the process throughout the year. It was definitely challenging for me, at least my sophomore year, because I would get so stressed out and there was so many things happening at once. But I think once I got to my varsity year, I learned that I just had to, like, keep my cool, and that I knew that everything was going to be okay. And I think that year just went by so much better. Like, it just went so much better because they were calm. So yeah.
I think that one of the things that was really amazing about you was that you never put yourself in front of your team.
Yeah.
And you know, if the choreographer would put you in a back corner, not that they did, but if they would put you back there, you were just as hardworking and you were just as proud being back there than you would be if you were in the front. Or even when you were putting pep rally dances, it wasn't about you. And I think that's so important when you are a leader and when you're, like, in charge of a group, that you understand that you're not trying to be the show off, that you're not trying to be the one that, you know, look at me and look how great I am. And not everybody gets to do that. Not everybody has that maturity. So I think that helps so much, that you were always about my team.
Yeah.
And when you would step out and you would, you know, have them rehearse and you were, like, watching the dance, you never were like, okay, do it again. And you never did it. You would put yourself back in there and you always put yourself in their shoes. And I think as a leader, that's something that you have to do. Like, you always have to look out for everybody else, and you have to make sure that you are the last thing that you think about. And I think it helped you with everything else that you did leadership-wise, when you were president of the school, when you were in charge of, you know, a certain project, or you had to do something that you were in charge of, you always knew how to handle that. So I think that's great for people who are getting into that role. You know, now when you're getting a new officer, now when you're getting new captains, that they know that it's not about them, especially, I mean, when you're in a team.
Yeah.
It's never about you and the team. It's everybody together.
Yeah, there was something that you told us in one of the officer meetings right at the beginning of my sophomore year. And you told us, like, always say we and never say me. And that, like, really stuck with me. And from that moment, I knew, like, as being captain, that was the captain that I wanted to be, and I never wanted to put myself above them, and I wanted to make sure that they knew that I was right there with them. So I think just using words like we and us, and this is what we have to do, and we're gonna make this better, and all of us like have to do this, really helped just kind of show them that I'm right there with them, and that no one's better than anyone, because that's not what it was. Because especially even in high school and in college, like captains are, we're the same age practically, like it's a 1, 2 year, 3 year difference. So it's hard to get a team to respect you when you guys are the same age, but showing them that you're right there with them helps so much, to know that this person's not trying to be better than me, they're trying to help me. And I think that's a big part of the process.
Well, mutual respect is so important.
Yeah,
because
so important.
That's like, I want you to respect me, but I'm going to respect you the same way. Even though I have a leadership role and I might, I might be making the calls, but at the end of the day, I still respect you.
Yeah.
I still think you have something to give. And as a captain, it really is so important to be able to level out with everybody, and just to kind of understand that, yes, I do have a title, but the only way that I could be a good leader is if you are here alongside with me.
Yep.
When you were Cudet captain, what were some things that you felt that you needed to work on that maybe could have made you a stronger captain?
I think it was a little bit difficult to take myself out of the routine and to watch it, and sometimes I felt like I knew what was wrong or what we could have fixed, but it was hard to put into words and like to try to get them, because like everyone's mind works differently, and when you're working with 19 different girls, it's hard to kind of word like, okay, this is what we need to do better. So I think working on that was a little bit stressful for me, but I think I got it down packed by the end. Also, a big part of being captain is realizing that every single person on the team has different personalities, and sometimes I could speak to somebody or say a correction to somebody in a certain way that I can't do to somebody else, which is fine, and everyone is different and everybody takes corrections differently. So I think really getting to know your team and their personalities made my year so much easier and made the process go by so much better, just because I knew like this person's more emotional, so I can speak to her this way so that she could actually retain the correction instead of feeling offended or instead of getting emotional about it. Or this person's a little bit more tough, so I need to speak to her in this way so that I could get through to her in this way. And I think that's really, really important, and a lot of people might miss that because they feel like their delivery needs to be the same every time. But my delivery personally, both years that I was captain, I felt like was very much to the individual that I was speaking to, and I think it helped a lot.
Absolutely. I think that you were really good about that, and I think that you knowing your team, I think it's very different with us because we have our JV team is freshmen, sophomores, varsity is juniors, seniors. So the exact team basically that you had for JV when you were captain was almost the exact team that you had your varsity year, with a couple of new kids in there and some kids had left. But basically the same thing. So it's by the time you get to varsity, you really knew your team. You really knew everybody, and it's a friendship, but at the same time, it's like, when we talk about we're sisters, everybody wants to say, oh, like we're a family. You guys really are. You spend so much time together. For 4 years, you guys are together, you hang out, you're 2 hours, you do this, you go through the most stressful days of your high school experiences together, that by the time you're a senior, you know them so well.
Yeah.
So being able to communicate to them at their level, at their understanding, I think it's something that not everybody gets to have. I think that people, when they're a captain, they don't really always have that. And by the time they figure out their team, the year's over. So I think that we're very lucky that we get to do it that way. I know that you're a little bit different.
We do it by scoring, by audition scoring. So I have freshmen on varsity. I have girls who move up their sophomore year, their junior year to varsity, and I mean, every year the team is different. I've never gone through 2 years where the team is exactly the same.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know that some teams do a little differently, and I know that some have all seniors on varsity, all freshmen on JV, but then in between it gets mixed up. But it's interesting to see the different dynamics of
it's different for everybody. Everybody's, their team works differently, and what works for one team will not work for somebody else. For
and some
us,
years
it works
might
that way.
alternate. Some years might be different. Like 1 year I had all my seniors on varsity, and some years I have some seniors on JV. Like it varies.
Yeah.
But I think even teams like that change every year and it's never the same people, I think I would say to just be very observant of your team. It doesn't take long to realize like how somebody reacts to something that's being said. So I felt like for me, because yes, I knew my team, but you grow so much from your freshman year to your junior year. Like it's just, you're such a different person that I felt like although I knew them, I had to relearn them and relearn their personalities once they got to varsity. And I just felt like I was very observant from the start, like even at UDA camp, like I knew like how certain girls reacted to certain things or how somebody reacted to something better than maybe something else that was said, or I knew some girls I had to show them instead of tell them because they didn't understand it when I told them, or some girls I could just tell them and they would pick it up right away. So it's different for every girl, but I think just being observant of the team and really learning their personalities helps just the season go by so much better.
Yeah, and the fact that you had really good officers, you mentioned that before, it's so important. I think that some coaches, they bank on their captain and they're like, okay, my captain, and they don't really take into consideration the dynamics with the officers and the co-captain and how important it is that your co-captain can really balance your captain. And I think that you were very lucky. You had a very nice balance with the four of you, that nobody tried to overstep anybody, that all four of you knew, okay, this person's in charge right now, we all step back. This one is better at this, so let's all step back. And that's, again, as a captain or as a leader, it's important to know your strengths and your weaknesses. And knowing that, okay, well, you know, I'm strong at this, but I'm not strong at that. So, hey, co-captain, you're strong at that. Why don't you take over there and I'll step back? And being okay and not being like, you know, no, I have to be in charge all the time. Those things are important as being a leader. And I think that you grasp that partly because you were able to do it for JV. So you understood it and you matured and knew that for varsity. But, you know, I think that you're an old soul. I think that, you know, you understand things like that just, you know, naturally.
I think this year was a perfect example for it. Like the four of us, my co-captain was better at choreography than me, and I understood that. So I felt like that was majority her role. Good at counts, officer better at social media, that was her role. I think we all had our roles and we respected each other when it came to the time that it was their time to take that role. And I think it's beautiful to see like so many people just working together and for the better of the team. I think all four of us, we just wanted whatever was best for the team, and we never put ourselves above the rest of the members on the team.
Well, and I think that some teams vary, and coaches need to see that too, that some teams might need a captain that is super stern, you know, doesn't allow them to get away with anything kind of thing, but then they need a co-captain that is okay with like coddling and like talking to people. Like, you need to understand your team as a coach and choose your officers based on that, and then making sure that your captain and co-captain are able to balance each other out in some things that maybe one might lack, the other is able to pick up.
And another thing that they had that was really good is that they had no problem if like she's going cleaning the routine, she's saying, okay guys, over here, and then somebody else was like, no, but I don't think it's there. You can't take that personal. You can't be like, well, that's it, it's what I said and no more. Like, you were very good about going, okay, what does most of you do? Do most of you do that? Okay, let's just do that. You know, turning to me and saying, okay, well, what do you think? Which one works better? And knowing that you know, yes, at the end of the day, you have the final say as captain, but there's no need to overstep everybody, that you felt like everybody worked together and let's just make sure
collaborative effort.
Yeah, and you were good about it. And captains and leaders in general need to have that skill. So I think that that's another, you know, positive that you had on your side, and again, it's something that you have naturally. I don't think that was something that, you know, had to be forced on you.
I think also just like thinking smarter, like if we're cleaning a routine and I know that a choreographer said something or we cleaned something at some point this way, but majority of the team is raising their hand saying they do it another way, that's what we're going to do because that's what majority of the team is doing, and it's just faster to clean. So I think just taking a step back and being like, this is what most of my team does, this is what we're going to do, is so important, rather than being like, I know that this is what it is, so this is what it's going to be. And it creates just a better atmosphere within the room to show that this is a cooperative process and it's not just me making decisions, but it's us as a whole, and we're just trying to make the routine better.
Well, it shows the team that everybody has a voice.
Yeah, exactly.
That it's not just about captain and team. It's all of us are still a part of a team, even though I'm your captain.
talk a little bit about the cleaning process, because I have coaches ask me a lot about how to clean a routine, how do you get our routines are always so like, in their eyes it's so perfect. Oh my God, how did you get it like that? So, and I explain it's a long process, not something you do from one day to the next. So we talk a little bit about the process that we have over there at Reef, cleaning routines and what you would have to do as a captain.
Yeah. So we usually do. We'll alternate, so we'll do one day hip hop, one day jazz, one day game day, so that we have a whole day to dedicate to one routine. I honestly would just say it's a lot about consistency. There's days where we would only work on 15 seconds for 3 hours and we would just drill it until it looked perfect. There's days where we would get a lot done because maybe it looked cleaner. So every day is different, and I think it's different for every team. I think we're lucky enough, choreo gets thrown at us very quickly, and the team has always been able to adapt to that. But with the cleaning process, I think just making sure, keeping them focused can be a little bit difficult sometimes, but I think just making sure that they stay focused and it's definitely a difficult process to clean them, but I think just about being consistent and doing the same thing over and over again so that it stays stuck in their head. And like, at least personally, like, we would clean one section for 10 seconds and then go to another part, but then we would go back to the 10 seconds and make sure that those 10 seconds were solidified in their head and that it didn't just get thrown away. And sometimes it doesn't work. Like, sometimes we go back to that part and we're like, we just cleaned this the other day, why doesn't it look clean? But it's part of the process, and it's hard to get 19 girls to think about every single correction and look the exact same. But with the time that we have we just do it so many times that by the time we get to nationals, it's kind of just engraved in our heads.
Yeah, and I think going into practice, I mean, for me at least, going in with a plan. Yeah. Saying like, okay, this week I want to have up to this part cleaned, and so I'm going to divide it up into this amount. And yeah, sometimes you have to stray because something like that it's like, we just cleaned this, why does it still look messy? But understanding that there are certain points where there's going to be a little bit more TLC needed, but then other points where it's like, no, we can get through this pretty quick. But at a minimum, having a plan that just kind of helps you in understanding how to move forward.
Yeah, I do that with them. I send them like, this is what the schedule's like from October to February.
Yeah, like a cleaning calendar.
Exactly. And it's kind of like, these are the rehearsal hours, the rehearsal days. And then as we get closer, it's like, we'll do jazz, we'll do hip hop, whatever. And yes, we will have to stray. There will be many times like the schedule said jazz and we're like, okay, no, but we need to do hip hop because we're falling behind there. Or, Sammy sent me something saying, oh, we need to do this. And okay, we're going to have to focus on that. So it's okay if you stray. It is important to have some type of a schedule and some type of a base saying, okay, this is what it all is going to look like. And then from there, you start adjusting where needed. Yeah. I think that doing game day adds an extra stress for us, especially because we're not, that's not our strength. So I think that as being a captain is an added stress because, you don't really understand. We really don't have the palm down, that technique down packed yet, but I think that we're getting better, and I think that we enjoy game day. I think that game day was just a fun thing for us to do.
Yeah, I also back to the cleaning. I think that people take videos for granted. Like, honestly, like watching yourself in a video, you could clean yourself so much. I give myself so many corrections when I watch myself dance, and I think something that worked for our team this year, we would record our dances and then I would go back and rewatch it a bunch of times, and I would write down corrections for certain girls, and I would make sure that those corrections were being taken in for the next video. And I would hold them accountable, like, did you fix this correction from the video before? And it really does help, because when you're getting used to this, okay, she's going to send a video, she's going to send corrections, she's going to watch me, you take initiative and you're like, okay, let me listen, let me be more focused, let me take in corrections. And I think that really helped our team a lot.
And you would zoom in. She would come and she would show me the phone and she would zoom into somebody and look at it. So she was very, very detailed, which that's important when you're, when you're trying to clean the routines, you need to be that detailed and you need to find those little mistakes. But she'd be funny. She'd be like, look at that.
And I would show them and I'd be like, why does it look like this? And in a way, I would do it in a joking way, but I'd be like, look at what why does it look like this? And it would help them. They visually see what I'm talking about, because I think it's different, like hearing like, okay, your arm needs to look like this and it looks like this. It's different hearing that than seeing yourself and being like, okay, yes, this is what I need to fix. And the video helped us a lot. The corrections did really help a lot with the cleaning process and just made it go by so much faster.
Yeah, and then she would send me texts and it became a joke because, I would say, okay, I want this and I want this and I want this. And she'd be like, Santa wants, Santa says, Santa needs. But it was good. It's good communication that you have to have with your captain and your co-captain, and that on a daily you are talking, and on a daily you're having conversations about what has to happen next, where are we right now, and talk her off the ledge. Sometimes there were days that she was like hysterical, and I'm like, it's gonna be fine, I mean, we're okay, and
right, and vice versa.
Yes.
She probably had to talk you off the ledge a few times.
Yes,
Exactly.
Well, and that's so important too, communication between coach and captain. Like I know that I've had captains in the past that have been like very much team comes first, which I understand that, but then it's also like forgetting that coach is part of the team. Forgetting that coach wants the best for the team at the same time. And it's not just about like, okay, so the team said this. No, it's also like bringing all of that together, because I think coach is such a big, important part of it and such a big factor. And it's something that I think my students learned a few years ago, and something I kind of picked up on that would like made a big difference, that having that direct relationship with the coach and understanding, first of all, communicating to the coach anything that the team might feel, communicating to the team anything the coach might feel, and being like that liaison between the two, that's so important to the team culture too, because it creates a really important bond that is needed to take the team to be national champions or whatever. But success is such a big part
and
of that.
definitely as a coach, you always have to have your captain's back.
Yes.
Like you need to, even if if they're wrong about something, the team has to see, like, I have her back. We're doing that. And then later on, take her aside and be like, listen, we can't do that. Let's do this instead. Like, they need to see that connection, and vice versa. Like, they need to see, like, if I say something and the team doesn't want to do it, the captain's like, no, we have to do it. Because when they see that connection, it'll just trickle down to the entire team, and it just makes everybody more cohesive. I think that that's so important, that everybody is on the same page, that everybody understands this is the path we have to take. If somebody veers from that path, you bring them right back on. You're like, no, here we are. And then you could have a conversation. We'll have conversations that will be like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's do that. What about this? What about that? And get back on the same page. But always letting the team know there was a mutual respect of captain and coach, that you're both seeing the same thing, you're both seeing eye to eye. And I think that that's so important. I think that we had that. And I think I've been very lucky. I've had that with, most of my captains, but we definitely had that. And that's the only way it works. Like,
also just like the relationship of trust. Like, I was very lucky that you trusted me so much. And there were certain times where you were busy doing other things. And I felt like, okay, I need to make this step for the team. This is what we need to do. And I would do it. And I would show her, and I'd be like, and you would trust me, and it felt good that you trusted me. And same with you. Like, there were certain times that she would tell me something, and I'd be like, I don't know if that's what we should do, but I'm like, you know what, I trust you. And I think that's so important, to just not only trust your captain, but for your captain to trust your coach too.
And put on your captain more than just dance team. Like, they need to have more responsibilities that's outside of dance team to help them understand this leadership role. So I do that a lot with my captains. Like, we do this boy pageant, male pageant called Mr. Barracuda, and my captain's in charge of it. And it puts a lot of responsibility on them. They learn how to manage a lot of things at the same time. So it'd be like, okay, today you have to do this, tomorrow you have to do this, Wednesday you have to do this, Thursday this. And she had to time manage. Like, this, and this has to happen. There's no procrastinating. There's no like, oh, I'll do that later, I'll do that tomorrow. No, I don't have time tomorrow, because tomorrow we have this, and the next day we have powder puff practice, and the next day we have choreography, and then so it helps as a leader know this is what I need to do. So when it comes to crunch time in January, in February, they don't crack under pressure.
Yeah,
they know.
There was days where we had meetings, and I would look at my calendar, and it was like 6 things a day. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to be in this office all day, every day. But we made it work. And honestly, we made it work well. I felt like I time managed very, very well, and I was lucky to have people around me that were always down to help me. So I knew it wasn't just me, and I didn't have to do everything by myself, but it was nice that I had such a close relationship with her, where I felt like we could talk about certain things, and we could talk about different ideas, and I could trust her, and she could trust me, and she trusted me to have so many things to deal with at once.
And when it came down to it, when we got to nationals, I know she's not going to crack under pressure, because I've thrown pressure at her. I've thrown a million things. She's learned how to manage it. Now we're at nationals. She knows what she's got to do to help get us there. And those are important little things that you learn as a coach that has to happen. I mean, I didn't always do that. I didn't always have, that knowledge of this is what I have to do. That came with time, but it works. You succeed because you are helping your captain and your officers and your team know how to work under pressure and be successful. And, I think that, she's a perfect example of how well that worked.
Yeah, I think another really important thing that you have that every officer or captain should have is being a good role model. Not just, you know, yeah, I wear my uniform every day to practice, I'm responsible, but like, what do you do outside of practice that makes you a good role model? You know, like, how's your social media? How do you carry yourself? You know, like, things like that are so important in a captain, because you're the face of the team that year. You are the one representing that. Especially as a varsity Cudette, you are representing varsity Cudettes. You're the one that we're putting on ESPN to, you know, talk to a crowd, and people look you up and see, oh my gosh, who is Jayla Valdes? And they look you up and they see all those things. How do you carry yourself? And that's something I think is one of the most important things when choosing a leader, and choosing a captain especially, is how are you going to carry yourself?
And that's hard because you're young and you want to do what everybody else is doing, and you want to have fun, but you know, you question it sometimes, and you know, you might make the wrong decision one day, you might do, but you're always going to question. You're always going to be, should I do that? Should I not? Because it's already been instilled in your head of, I got to think about that. If I do that, this might happen. I mean, you're already like, you know, on a certain path, and it's hard to veer from it.
The pressure on you is already so strong with just being a captain, but like, you know, that teaches you so much.
It's also about taking how I am in practice and having that, being like that in all areas of my life. So just as disciplined as I am in practice, I am in school, and I am in stuff outside of life, in my hobbies. And I think that's really important, because I don't come into practice and I'm not a whole new person. This is like who I am at all times of the day. So I'm really consistent with everything in my life. I'm really organized with everything in my life. And it's really, really important to just kind of take those characteristics that you have outside of the dance room and bring them into the dance room, and be like that at all times of the day. Because like you said, there is people looking up to you, and there is people, you're the face, and the other team, people in the team feel like they need to look up to you, and they need to not be like you, but because you're the example, they learn a lot from you. So I feel like not just in the dance room, but how I am in school and how I am when I walk the hallways is so important, because they really do look at that and they pay attention to it more than what a lot of people might think.
Bonding, like those are some important things. I love bonding, and to me that's so important in teams. So what's your take on being captain and the bonding process and the friendship that happens in dance team?
I think it's so important. I think Cudettes does a really, really good job at doing bondings and making sure that the team is really close. I think naturally dance practices are bonding, at least to me. Like, I get so close to the girls doing dance practice because you're just going through so much together, and you're working so hard together, and you cry together, and you fall together. So I think it's really, really important to make sure that your team is close, because it's just so beautiful to see a team that's close on stage, and you really do feel that. I feel like from a crowd and from watching a dance team be so close, it's so beautiful to see that emotion, and I really do think that it's an important part of the success of your team, for sure.
Yeah, because you guys are friends, and you know, it's not like you're best friends all the time, 24/7. Everybody has to be together, but you know, you have each other's back, and you know that you guys, you know, are there for each other. And there's some people who are closer than others, and there's always going to be people who are like, you know, have lunch together every day, and you know, you don't have lunch with them every single, but you guys still know, I need something, oh, I need to do this, I need somebody to go with me here. You guys all know how to do that. So that's so important. And I think that not just for the competition time, but when you guys are doing pep rallies, that you guys, you know, have that connection. When you guys are at a game, that you guys, you know, are together. You know, all those things are just so important in a growing process of a team. And I think that we do a really good job of keeping that. I mean, I wish there was more time to do more. I wish that we could have like a bonding every single week, but we run out of time.
I also think as captain, like creating a atmosphere that's really positive and within the dance rehearsal is very, very important. So like I used to always tell my team, like, things that you're going through or drama that might have happened outside of the dance room doesn't come into the dance room, and it's really important to like have that stick in their brains, because this is something completely different, and here we're a team and we're working for the same goal. So if something might have happened outside of the dance room, this is your priority for these 4 hours that we're in practice. And I think it's important for the girls to know that and to remember that throughout the year.
Yeah. Do you think that dance team is hard to balance with school, with studio, if you have to have a job, or, you know, do you think it's completely doable? Like, if somebody asks, or somebody's like, I'm not sure if I could do everything. If I go to dance team, I can't do studio. If I do dance team, I'm going to do bad in school. You know, if I do dance team, I can't get a job. I mean, what do you think the balance is like?
Hard, yes, but definitely not impossible. Like I think it sets you up for so much in life because it only gets harder when you get older. And honestly, this is the fun part of it. Like my senior year, because I was president and captain, I felt like I was so involved, and it was the most fun I had my senior year. Although I had so much to juggle with and so much to do, it's really, really important to kind of take on these roles and to trust yourself, knowing like, yes, I could handle all of these things and I can keep up my grades while leading a team, while leading a senior class. Like it's important and it's satisfying at the end to see, like, to look back on everything you did and you're like, wow, I did that and I did it well and I'm proud of myself for it. And I think it's just important to continue to challenge yourself and like, yes, I can take on all of these things and I could do it well and I could do it properly, but it really is up to you and it's up to the person. Like, you just need to do you need to put in 120% in everything that you do. And if you feel like you can't put 120% into those things, then maybe drop something down. As long as you're not giving 50% to all of the things that you're doing and you're making sure that you can do all of these things.
And communication is so important.
Exactly.
Where I think that's where a lot of these kids, fall behind, is that they don't communicate. Like if you come and you say, listen, I'm a little overwhelmed. I have 2 big exams today. I can't do this and this. Can somebody else? And learning how to balance everything. If you communicate with your coach and at your studio, people will work with you. But if you don't communicate, if you don't really come out and be like, this is what's happening, nobody knows. Yeah. Nobody knows how to help you. So, I think that's something that, because you're young, sometimes you don't know how to communicate and you don't know how to talk. And, you hope that maybe your parent will do it for you, but, your parent can't communicate for you.
It's part of the maturity.
Yes,
exactly.
for sure. And, she was very good. She was very mature about, she had a problem. No, her mom's not the one that's calling me to tell me. It would be her. And she would be like, this is what I need. Or
dancers don't have your parents call for you.
Don't.
Yeah, which is important to learn, honestly, very, very young. Like, I don't remember the last time that my mom had to come to my dance teacher and tell them something, or any teacher for that matter. Like, I took initiative very, very young, and I was lucky to be taught that at a young age because it's really an important skill to be able to talk for yourself.
Coaches aren't scary. If you come to them and ask for help, coaches are there to help. And at the end of the day, if a student comes to you and says, I need help, the coach should be willing to help no matter what.
Yeah.
So if a student learns very early, like you said, to just ask for the help, the coach will be there for you. Yeah. And it's a bigger turnoff for a parent to come to a coach and ask for help for the kid when the kid should be the one coming up, especially in high school. I understand in middle school, middle school is still...
You're still learning,
kids
you're still growing.
Kids are still little kids.
Yeah.
But
I also think with that, though, it's important to know when to ask for help because a lot of the times dancers just, like, go to their coach or their captain or their parents for everything, and it's important to know, like, I can do this by myself or I could fix this problem by myself and I don't need to bombard my coach or bombard the captain. Like, I can solve this by myself. Even with the cleaning process, like, if you look next to you and maybe my arm is different from somebody else, like, you can take initiative and fix it yourself instead of raising your hand and wasting time in the rehearsal. So I think that's important too, just having a balance of, yes, I could come to you and have good communication and tell you when something's wrong, but at the same time, like, I have the initiative to fix things myself and I don't always have to come to you for everything.
And that's trust in a dancer.
Yeah.
That's just trusting yourself to know that you're capable.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about getting your team to have the stamina to get on that stage and perform, full out every single time.
I think it's about repetition, just doing the dance over and over again. For our team, we would do like, okay, this run through is just arms. This run through is just tricks. This run through is just lifts. This run through, we're just focusing on the movement, or we're just focusing on these 20 seconds. And I think it's important to pace yourself in that way, at least for the start of the season. But I think towards the end by nationals, you should be just doing run throughs over and over again because honestly, to me, like, dancer stamina is like no other. It's not like running. It's not like working out. It's a lot more difficult. So yes, you could run and yes, you could build your stamina that way, but there's no way that you're perfecting the stamina for the routine unless you're repeating that same routine over and over again so that your body could get used to it.
Yeah, we start the year with like running and stuff like that, but there is nothing like doing the routine full out over and over again. I mean, there's no way around it.
I think a huge thing too is dancers marking smart.
Yeah.
Not, your upper body should always be doing things full out, even when you're doing a mark. The more you actually dance through your movement, even when you're marking, it makes it that much easier when you're actually doing the dance full out.
Yeah, and your brain should be working so much faster and so much better when you're marking, because when you're dancing, you shouldn't be thinking so much. It should already be engraved when you're doing it full out. And I think a lot of dancers just kind of go through a mark and they take advantage of the mark, but it's really important, especially for a dance team, because when you're marking, you're usually going over the corrections that we went over previously.
Right.
And it's important to kind of have recollection of those things that was said before so that we don't have to keep taking steps backwards.
Yeah, I always tell my kids, and they would know my one favorite word is intention. Like whenever we're gonna do mark, intention behind your movement. And part of it is because you're doing that repetition. So you're just kind of trying to keep it in your body no matter what. And if you're marking it completely different than what you're doing full out.
Yeah.
So just doing everything full out as you can, even when you're doing a mark. And yeah, maybe don't go to the floor. Maybe, mark your lower body, fine. But,
And you should always have a goal of, like, picking one person on the team and who does it the strongest. And the goal should be everybody should be dancing at that level. Everybody should look like that. Everybody should have that energy. Everybody should have that power. And that should be everybody's goal. I mean, you want to be the best one on the team. You never want to be the weakest link.
Yeah.
So, you feel you're the weakest link. You've got to figure out, what do I need to do so I'm not the weakest link, so I could keep up with that person.
Yeah.
And that helps. That helps everybody on the team.
Yeah.
So. And I do believe in the running. I think that running is something you have to do in the beginning because you have to build up that stamina little by little. But those 2 minutes, it's not about running at that point. At that point, it is, you need to do that
marathon.
Yeah. And you have to do it more than once. You've got to do it twice, full out, back to back, and in between do a sprint and then get back into the formation. Let's do it again without breathing, without water. You know how I feel about the water breaks.
Well, you should be able to do it consistently because when you get when you get to UDA, you're doing it on the practice mat. You go downstairs, you talk for a second, and then you go right on stage. You barely have the time to breathe
at all.
And it's not just physically exhausting. It really is mentally exhausting. Like, you're thinking about so many things, especially as a captain. I feel like anytime I would go on stage, I was thinking, like, I knew all their corrections. I wasn't just thinking about mine. I was like, did this girl hit this? Did this girl point her toe on this? Like I said, did this girl straighten her leg? I was thinking about so many things at once. So I think it's important to really drill that in rehearsal. That way the team feels comfortable enough to take that on stage, and it kind of becomes muscle memory at that point.
Yeah, and then she had the stress of the lift that we had this year, that every time right before that lift, I would
that iconic lift.
And at the practice mat, and it, like, wasn't hitting on the practice mat. Yeah,
and just then you're stressed over there, like, oh my God, is it gonna hit? Is it gonna hit?
Was it her that fell at one of the competitions? Not at the competition, on the practice mat of one of the competitions?
Yeah, from in
Hallelujah
handstand lift. Yeah, from the handstand
lift. And Deefy fell in, like, the one that they drag her across.
Yes.
The Maya, like, she ate it a couple
There's
times.
There's, like, so many videos of us falling from those lifts, honestly.
Yeah. But, it was just a matter of, like, bounce right back up and go. I mean,
doesn't kill you, makes you stronger.
Yeah, you just got to figure it out.
And just trusting each other. Like, before we went on stage, I was like, I know that we did not hit this on the practice mat, but I was confident that we were going to hit it on stage, and I'm glad that we did. And it really, the lift wasn't about me. Like, it really was. It was a hard lift to get through, and we had to drill it so many times, and we tried different people, different weights, different pushes, so it was difficult, but it all came down to just trusting each other and making sure that the lift was gonna happen.
And then everybody was like, okay, I got it, like, nobody, like, stepped back and was like, oh no, I'm not gonna worry about it. It was like, when she went up there, which was the best way for her to come out of it, who was the best person to catch, who was the person, it was a lot.
Demaya, the answer was Demaya.
Demaya was the answer. It was.
Honestly, she was a trooper.
Shout out Demaya.
She was a trooper.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It was like 4 back to back.
Yep.
She really MVP.
Her arms were working throughout that routine. Back to stamina.
Yeah. I'm sure this year she's like, please don't make me do it.
So I'm sure that a lot of officers or captains have had issues, and they might want your advice on this, but was there ever a moment where, like, maybe somebody on your team was not respecting you or was not giving you the 100% that you were requiring from them? And if they did, what were some things that you did to kind of snap them back into that or regain their respect?
Honestly, I felt really lucky this year. I didn't feel like I ever had a moment where one of the girls was not respecting me or disrespecting me. I think there definitely was a lot of times, though, that some of the girls it's easy in the dance world to get insecure about things or to feel not motivated because you're not hitting something or because you might be in the back line, and I think that was a big problem this year with some of the girls. But I think just really reinforcing, like, you're gonna be good, you got this, like, I'm rooting for you is so important on a team, and it motivates them and it makes them do better. And when you feel motivated and when you feel encouraged, you want to work harder and you want to ask questions and you want to dance full out. So I think that's really important. So I wouldn't say it was so much that I felt ever like I wasn't being respected, but more so people were having their own personal problems, and I just wanted to make sure that they knew that I was right there rooting for them and that they didn't have to do that alone.
Yeah, I think that if they ever feel like, or if a captain ever feels like they're being disrespected, I think a lot of times it's because they don't require discipline from day one.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the things I always tell them. If you do not day one, this is what is expected, and if you don't do this, there's a consequence. If you let it go the first day, you're never going to get it back.
Right.
Yeah.
So the first day someone's not in a uniform, if there isn't a consequence, they're going to be without uniform 15 times. And that's where the disrespect comes, and that's where it's hard to grasp. But I think that they were very good about, following through and,
Consistency.
Yes, yeah. And you don't have to be like this super strict or anything like that. It's just, these are our expectations. Our expectations are A, B, and C, and that's going to get us this. And if you don't do this, we're just not going to get that. It's that
And
simple.
most of the things that you require are basic things.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
wear your uniform.
Yeah.
Don't talk back.
Yeah.
Help each other out.
Work hard,
Yeah.
We're all going to have a bad day, and there's always going to be a day that someone doesn't work as hard because they're sick or they're tired or they just
There's always one time where somebody brings the wrong uniform.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
in a blue moon.
So there's
things
always going to be
happen.
something like that, but that should be like one time that happens. It shouldn't be like every week so-and-so is in a bad mood. Every week so-and-so is not working. Then so-and-so maybe shouldn't be on the team. Like, maybe this is not the place for them. Let's find what the right thing is for them. So.
Yeah.
Well, Jayla, it's been so nice to have you back. I've missed you for the past couple of weeks that I haven't had
it's
you.
honestly been too long. I feel like I just want to go back. I have like dance team FOMO.
It's funny because in the beginning of her senior year, she was like, "It's going by so fast. It's going by so fast.
I know, and like-
I don't want it to end." And yeah, it does. Your senior year goes by very fast, and you look back to your 4 years and how quick the 4 years and the experiences that you had, how quick they went by. But it's important that you look back and you learn from all that, and that you're taking that with you to college, and that you will continue being a great leader, and coming back and being part of the team. You're always a Cudette for us. So
And you had a great ending to your senior year.
Absolutely.
Yes, I did.
Absolutely. All right, and to our audience, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing all our fun day with Jayla.
And if you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on Instagram. And if you have any questions or suggestions, make sure to click on our link tree in our bio and fill out our Google form.
Thank you. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.